Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast. From the Sugar Shack Studios, just outside Houston, Texas, USA, this is the award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. This hour, we'll be chatting it up with Ryan.
You already forgot.
We'll let Ryan tell you his name.
And we'll tell you he'll tell you how he spells it, and you'll find out it's part of the confusion. Most of the confusion is from me. He's from Consumer Reports, and we're going to talk about best tires for your ride. Also, I'll give you my thoughts on driving the 2025 Mazda CX-90, and Jeffrey has the Motor Minute. That and more in this segment of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, we always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday for our live show. Our live segment always runs on Saturday mornings between 10 and noon Central Time. Of course, on the East Coast, it is right up to lunchtime now. It's at 11 o'clock over there.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's get the weather report first, because we heard that the weather's kind of yucky out there. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Are you south of the weather?
Nope, I'm right in the middle of it right now.
Are you? Is it snowing up there?
It's not snowing, but it's about 45 degrees and rainy, but it's welcome because we've had a drought for the past 2 months.
Yeah, I know, and all those fires and everything else going on up there. It's really been bad. How are things at Consumer Reports these days?
Things are well. We're staying busy. There's always something new out there to test, so we're keeping everybody up to date.
So Ryan and I were chatting before we went on the air, and come to find out that Ryan grew up about 5 minutes from where he is right now, and would you call it Area 51 for cars?
Yeah, it was a mysterious place. Yeah,
yeah. So right there by the test track that Consumer Reports has, and I found it interesting that you wound up working a really cool job at Consumer Reports, and you started off changing tires or something?
Yeah, I was change tires, and then in the summer when things slowed down, I would cut the grass.
Cut the grass at Consumer Reports.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a
lawnmower test.
Yeah, lawnmower testing. Did you test lawnmowers? Did they give you?
Funny. With all the grass up here, they actually go down to Florida and test it in the middle of the winter, I think. So.
Oh no! Okay.
Well, yeah, it makes
golf
sense.
course.
Go where it's warm.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's not why we called. That's not why we're talking to you today. We're talking to you about tires. Top pick tires for cars, trucks, and SUVs. Where do you want to start?
Well, we can start with cars. This past year, we just finished testing passenger all-season tires. These are tires that'll fit on a Toyota Camry, Chevy Malibu, that type of a car. We use the Toyota Camry to test. On top, a familiar Fender, Michelin Defender II. It's a great tire, it wears well. In our test to do well, you have to balance, all season grip. We weight the safety related aspects higher. So dry and wet braking, handling, hydroplaning resistance. Behind that comes your snow traction, and then all what we call value features such as rolling resistance, which is the fuel efficiency of the tire, ride and noise. Those are things that don't affect your safety as much. So those things, you have to balance that just right. And I couldn't give you the exact weightings of how we come to that conclusion. But
Ryan, that Defender, that's a high mileage tire for Michelin, isn't it? It's always been a high mileage tire. That's like one of their premier mileage go-tos.
It's oftentimes Michelin makes a long wearing tire. The Defender II is the longest wearing tire we've tested in a long time. So that is weighed into the score. Treadwear isn't the highest weighted thing, but it obviously helps it. With the rest of its performance. So,
let me ask you this: and how does that compare to other tires in its zone, if you will, that are likewise? How does it compare as far as price is concerned? Because these days, especially, people will kind of give up the long mileage tires. Right. Because of the price.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. So what we find with tires that wear that long and they perform as well as the Defender II does, there's a value aspect there. You might pay extra, but it lasts almost twice as long as a tire that might, cost less. There's value there, right? And while you have that tire, it has that better performance than maybe some of the tires further down. But I understand. I mean, people don't enjoy buying tires for the most part, unless you're an enthusiast. Tires are black and round, and you have to buy them, and it's not a fun purchase, right? So, I advise people to do their research, take a look at our ratings. You can really dive into the actual individual ratings and see what aspects you might be looking for. If you live down south, you're not worried about snow traction. So there might be a tire somewhere on that list that works for you. Or if you're really worried about treadwear, then you can look at our mileages and see which ones last longer.
And, if you're driving a Camry, chances are that you're looking for long-lasting everything. And now the Camry only comes as a hybrid model, so you're already getting pretty good gas mileage. And if you can add to it, along with not having to buy tires every 35,000 miles,
right.
You scored a hit there. Well, when it comes to – I'm sorry, Jeff.
I was going to say, with a high-mileage tire, and you save the longevity, and you got the value, you pay up front for the tire, and then you got the long distance of the travel of the use of the tire. But there's a drawback on that because the tire's made different to last that long. There's different components and different sidewall components and things like that. You talked about the tread and the tread blocks. That all does take into play with that long mileage tire, but you lose some of the ride and comfort, don't you?
So, sometimes we found with the Michelin, the Defender II, it just strikes a good balance of all those things. Again, it's the treadwear is not what putting it at the top of the list. I mean, it has it has great dry and wet braking and handling and hydroplaning resistance, stuff like that. So in the past, we have seen tires that they sacrifice one thing for another. Tires are a compromise, right? But the Defender II does a great job of balancing all that stuff, and that's why it earned its way to the top of our list.
Cool. How about the SUVs? I mean, everybody's buying SUVs these days, and that is a completely different vehicle than a car. And the fact that most of them sit up higher off the ground, the handling certainly isn't as good as a car, generally speaking. And there are different aspects. Do you actually take your SUV off-road? That's one aspect of it. Or do you just drive it on the highway all the time? So I think all of those things kind of play into your choice of what you're going to buy for your SUV. What's the number one thing that you guys came up with?
So for the SUV segment, we came up with another Michelin product, the Cross Climate. This is a tire that you can put on a car as well. They chose, and we chose to test it on the SUV segment, and it's just a tremendous tire. It's actually a what we call an all-weather tire, which means it has a mountain snowflake symbol on the sidewall, much like a dedicated winter tire, which means it passes an actual industry standard test that gives it that snowflake symbol on the sidewall. So all winter tires, dedicated winter tires, have this symbol, but the dedicated winter tires don't have. They need to be taken off in the spring. They're not meant to be run year round.
Exactly.
They don't have UTQG ratings. An all-weather tire allows you to use it year-round, but it has enhanced snow traction. So think of it as a tire between an all-season product and a winter tire. It's not a dedicated winter tire. It is not as good as a dedicated winter tire in snow. However, it's better than an all-season tire, and you can use it year-round. So a lot of people find it to be a great value to have because you don't have to do the winter changeover. If you live in an area where it snows, but not too much, not too crazy, you can get by with it year round. And it's you don't have this extra set of wheels and tires sitting on your garage. And they just, the Cross Climate 2 is just a tremendous tire. I mean, it wears well. It's excellent in the snow, and then its dry and wet handling and braking grip is phenomenal. So
well, see, that was the fun of winter, because I used to have another set of rims and tires in the basement for the summer, and you change them out in the winter, and that was always fun. And then you got your dedicated snow tires for the winter, and you wore those out in the season, and then next year you repeat the process. So, come March, April, you take them out of the storage, and you polish them up, and you throw them on your hot rod, and you're good to go. That's what we used to do.
So how about you said the SUVs. Let's talk about trucks here for a minute. And the trucks definitely are a different dynamic, because usually we're talking about load capacity when it comes to a truck. Whether it's a half-ton pickup truck or something like a three-quarter ton, you're usually rated for such as something that can tow and haul. And I guess that you guys tested all of that.
Sure. So with the tires we test are for the truck segment. When we do our truck segment, it's what we call body on frame trucks. So your Silverado 1500 or a Tahoe, something like that. We don't test 2500 or 3/4 tons LT metric tires.
Yes, they're different rating.
Metric.
Yeah.
Right. Those tires are technically different. Even if it looks like the same as the same tire that we have on our list that we tested in an LT, it's technically a different tire built the way it's built. So we don't test those.
Do they usually give those tires a different name so you wouldn't have, say, for instance, a Michelin Defender on the half ton and another Michelin Defender on the 3/4 ton? Do they give them different names?
It depends on the company. Some companies will, it'll be the same name, it's just in an LT size. Other companies will market it as a whole other
LT
model.
meaning light truck.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
Yeah, but then
on a 1500 series truck, you would have what we call a passenger or a hard metric tire. So it's actually a car tire, but it's enlarged and it's built for a truck. But
right,
it's not,
commercial. It's a commercial side.
Exactly. It's not extra thick sidewalls and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So Continental does well in this area for truck all season. The Conti Terrain Contact HT is a phenomenal tire. Just with the rest of the tires I've mentioned already, I mean, they strike a great balance across the board. Good treadwear. In the all-terrain category, the Conti Terrain Contact AT has been a long-standing first-place tire there. We've tested that a few times, and it's always found its way to the top. It just strikes another great balance of snow traction and dry and wet grip. It's quiet. Some all-terrain tires are not that quiet because of the luggy tread. They'll make a lot of noise.
Yes.
And they wear well.
Yeah. Well, in case you haven't heard, I just bought a new Buick recently, and on the Envision, I've got the Continental Contis on that, the road tire on that. So, and I like the tire; it's a good, quiet tire.
Yeah, they're great. Continental's done a great job over the years. They're always in close competition with Michelin.
Right. Have you ever been to Uvalde, where their test track is in?
I have a few times. Yeah. Impressive place.
Yeah, very cool. In the middle of nowhere, but that's the only.
It is
the only reason they can have it, though.
Yeah.
So back to the truck tires, because I happen to know of a truck that's going to need some tires in the next few months.
Yeah, would that be the in-wheel time machine?
The in-wheel time
You needed
machine.
a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're talking like the tires you were talking about, you're talking like a passenger car type tread, or I'm trying to think of how to put this. Like the tread that we have now on the truck it's not an off-road tire.
It's an aggressive tire.
Pretty aggressive, yeah. It's kind of a...
Why?
Yeah,
because that's what it came with?
Because that's what it looks good on it. It's a 20-inch rim.
Who makes that decision?
Me?
I was going to say.
I write the check.
Yeah. Well, your thing, because it looks good on it, it might not look good to me.
I understand. That's the reason I'm asking the expert here.
I see. Okay.
So, because we're going to have to do something here
pretty quick.
soon.
Yeah.
That's become popular to put, aggressive-looking tires. They're not necessarily, the tread isn't exactly a hardcore all-terrain tire, but they're giving the sidewall some chunky lugs on it.
Yes.
Right. Because a real all-terrain tire doesn't do that well on road and in on-road grip and stuff, because it's built to go off-road as well. So you're now another compromise.
Right.
But they tone the tread back a little bit, and then they make the sidewalls look a little chunkier and give it that look. The Jeep enthusiasts, a lot of those people, because a lot of those Jeeps, they don't even go off-road. So it's
our truck does it either. I mean, it's purely for looks to give it a little bit of a lift look and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, you talked
become a good thing.
You talked about the side tread blocks, harmonics. The noise actually comes from that as well. So the less you have of that, the quieter the tire is.
Right, yeah. Or the bigger the amp you buy for your stereo.
You can hear it before you see it.
Let's talk about now. We're at that time of the year where I guess snow tires are a thing, especially up where you are. Here, we might get a light snowfall once every 5 or 7 years, something like that. So it's really, to me, not a player here. Right. We have people that live here that travel and are going to be traveling this weekend to see Aunt Mary up in Wisconsin. And there could be a issue there. So it would be okay to run a snow tire in dry Houston, Texas kind of weather, because you're only just driving it up to where the snow is, and you're only going to be there for a couple of days or so. How do you justify a snow tire or a second set of tires, if you will, for a trip like that? Or do you just go with the all season and be done with it?
In an area like that, I would say you would go with the all season or even an all weather tire, if you will. Winter tires nowadays. I mean, if you got to be in the snow belt up here. And, I have some friends that are first responders or doctors or nurses or even on the news, and they have to be at work at 4 a.m. and no matter what the conditions are. Sometimes it's worth it to have a set of dedicated winter tires for that. Or if you're an enthusiast, you're going skiing, you're going way up north, or you live way up north, and you're constantly driving on snow. Winter tires are best when you're driving on snow.
Right.
On the cleared roads, winter tires are actually a bit of a hindrance, believe it or not, which is why these all-weather tires make a ton of sense, because nowadays the roads in most areas are cleared off pretty quickly. They're wet, or you can wait. People are working from home. It's not like the old days where you had to go out. You didn't have any, means of doing work from home or anything like that. So, I mean, winter tires I see dwindling a little bit. Of course, in the extreme northern areas, Canada, they're mandated in some places,
the
right?
Mountain area, yeah.
So,
to that point, the best way a snow tire or a winter tire works is to have those tread blocks packed with snow, because that's your traction point. The snow on snow is traction. Rubber on snow is not traction. So you got to pack those treads fully in order to get good traction in the snow.
So let me ask you this right quick before we run out of time. Like Don said, we don't get much snow down here, but we do get a lot of ice. Is there some consideration as far as tires go in regard to ice that we should think of?
So dedicated winter tire is going to be better on ice as well. There's no doubt about that. The soft tread, the siping, the compound. However, you got to weigh it out how often you really run into it. If you can wait for it to clear off, because it's an added expense. It's an added place to store things. It's just one of those things.
All right, so we're going to end this by saying sports cars. I happen to have a C5 Corvette, and they've got a set of Michelins on there that I bought a couple of years ago, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
And very happy with the tire and the price of the tire. And what do you recommend?
So for all what we call ultra high performance, these are ZR rated Y and W sports performance tires.
Yes.
All season, the Pilot Sport All Season 4 is a tremendous tire. And for summer products, the Pilot 4S, Michelin Pilot 4S. As you can see, Michelin does well with us, but these are both tires that are just phenomenal. Dry and wet grip. UHP tires or sports car tires, their main strength is dry and wet grip and handling. Right? They don't wear well. They don't wear long. They're soft compounds. They can be a little bit stiff riding, but that's the sacrifice you make in a sports car, right? So, those are the picks we have for those vehicles.
So where can our viewers and listeners get this information?
So, consumerreports.org, and I actually have a little promotion for In Wheel Time listeners.
There you go.
If you visit cr.org/in wheel time / you can get $10 off a year subscription from Consumer Reports.
I'm in. That's cool.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll promote that before the end of the show again, just in case those people move along and they don't know. Yeah, we shall. Matter of fact, I printed that out here. So I just wanted to make sure that I get that in there.
Kind of nice way to segue to get him to say it.
Exactly. Ryan, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for devoting part of your Saturday for us. I know you got lots to do, and we thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Ryan.
Okay, Consumer Reports. And there you go. $10 off.
Yeah.
$10. I'm telling you. All right. Hey, you can catch the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the Audacy radio app and the In Wheel Time app. We also video stream our weekly show on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. And podcasts are available from your favorite podcast provider. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick pit stop. So stay with us. The Tex-Mex dining experience is defined by Lupe Tortilla, your destination for Texas's best beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. Since 1983, Lupe Tortilla has served authentic and time-tested recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Atmosphere is part of the award-winning experience at Lupe Tortilla, all developed in a little house near Highway 6 and I-10 in West Houston. Visit any of the Lupe Tortillas and you'll see the same attention to detail in each and every location. Start your Lupe experience with queso flammeado and guacamole, along with a classic frozen margarita. Dine on famous Lupe beef and chicken fajitas, or pepper shrimp brochette, or a fish or vegetarian entree, and finish with a scrumptious flan for dessert. Find Lupe Tortilla in Houston, College Station, Beaumont, Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas-Fort Worth. There's a Texas location near you. The recipes are authentic and time-tested. The ingredients always fresh. Lupe Tortilla, he's pretty good. Is your car ready for that all-important holiday road trip? Gulf Coast Auto Shield is having another car social Saturday, December 7th, and you're invited. Bring your car, truck, or SUV and find out what it'll take to get that thing looking new again. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your one-stop shop for paint detailing, coatings, window tint, clear bras, camera installs, and wheel repair. The Car Social is your opportunity to get a tour of this state-of-the-art facility located at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. Join the Car Social Saturday, December 7th, 9 to noon. Talk to other owners and see how good your car can look on the road trip to Aunt Mary's. She'll want that good-looking ride in her driveway, I promise. Put it on your calendar. The Gulf Coast Auto Shield Holiday Car Social and Road Trip Get Ready. Saturday, December 7th, 9 to noon at 11275 South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of the Southwest Freeway. The In Will Time Car Talk Show will be there, too. We'll see you then. Hey, welcome back to the In Will Time Car Talk Show on this Saturday. We appreciate you joining us today from the In Will Time Sugar Shack Studios. Glad you could join us. Time now for Jeff's Motor Minute.
Well, the Motor Minute, want to talk about a new birth in the family of racing. Tony Stewart and Leah Pruitt welcome son Dominic James Stewart. Tony Stewart has carried a lot of names over the years. He's been affectionately known as Smoke, Champ, and for many years, or for many times over the years, been known as Boss. So this past weekend, Tony was at the race, and he had a call from Leah that she was in labor.
I don't know why I was on there.
I don't know either. We just like you. Okay. So 53-year-old Tony was competing full-time in the NHRA Top Fuel Dragster ranks, received a call from Leah, and she was going into labor. So Tony, who qualified, flew from Pomona, rushed over to Phoenix, where he was able to make it in time for the delivery of his son, Dominic. Now, Leah and baby are doing great. Only Tony could have pulled off qualifying, rushing to Phoenix, and then making it in time for the delivery, going back to the drag strip, where he actually didn't go to the final. He lost out. But Pruitt, 36, stepped away from the NHRA competition this season to focus on building a family with Stewart. While Pruitt was out of the NHRA Top Fuel Dragster, Tony stepped in to fill her position. So this all happened back in March of 2021 when they got married. In 2022, she dropped out of the racing circuit to start a family. And here you go. So you got son Dominic James Stewart in NHRA.
James Stewart, as in Jimmy Stewart.
Well, it could be Jimmy Stewart, but congratulations to the Stewart family. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, time now for this hour's car review. 2025 Mazda CX-90.
Oh, boy.
I had the 3.3 Turbo S Premium Plus. This is a standard SUV, seating for 6 in 3 rows, all new for 2024. One of the better-looking SUVs on the market, I say. Well-balanced overall, attractive, conservative front grille. What is he doing down there? He's fiddling with his headset. That's okay. You done fiddling? Okay, thank you. Chrome accents give an overall high-priced appearance. Rear hatch and booty carries the balanced look also with lighting beneath the glass. What I liked about it, overall look gets an A in my book. What could use improvement? Nothing. Like the painted wheel well opening moldings on it. That was different because usually the manufacturers these days don't paint them, the black plastic. And
Hey.
Could you not? Is yours that way?
Yeah.
You got black plastic?
No, I've got gray. Mine's an accent of the gray. Yeah.
So yours are painted?
Painted gray or molded gray.
Okay, whatever. Interior highlights. Standalone center screen with instrument cluster underneath the sunshade there for the driver. Alcantara dash accent is attractive, but it sure seems to me that could be a dirty point later on in the car's life. Comfortable seating for 6. Overall design is attractive on the interior. Cargo, kind of on the small side with the 3rd row up, which is pretty typical for 3 rows of seating. That back seat, kids only. What I liked, attention to the detail is noteworthy. What could use improvement? Infotainment is one of the worst in the business. and I have not liked it from the beginning. I shared that sentiment with our dear friend out on the West Coast, Jack Nerad, and he agreed with me. He said, they need to do some work in that area. 3.3-liter turbocharged engine, 340 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, so it doesn't lack in the power. 8-speed automatic transmission, towing 5,000 pounds, gets 23 in the city, 28 on the highway for a combined of 25. I got 26.7 miles per gallon over 497.8 miles. Are you going to say something?
I'll wait till you're done.
What I liked about it, the power, what could use improvement. The start-stop feature kills the engine at any speed when the accelerator is not pressed, and it's disturbing. So you're doing 70 miles an hour and you let off the accelerator, the engine quits. Okay, I'm not sure about that. Transmission shift from first to second is bothersome as well. What I liked about it, the overall feel of the car is responsive and quick, sports car-like actually, and they've done quite well in the sports car department with the Mazda Miata MX-5. What could use improvement there? Nothing. Now, base trim price on this is $56,450. It's not cheap. Prices tested $57,905. Base model price is $37,845. Competitors to this vehicle in base and size. Kia Telluride starts $36,190. Hyundai Palisade, $36,800. And the Toyota Grand Highlander, which is a new model for them, $42,310. So, what were you going to say?
Well, I was driving in the city this week in my new Buick, by the way, and I was getting 31.2 on a 1.2-liter turbo, normally aspirated, fuel injected, obviously.
Is it the three-banger?
It's a four-cylinder.
Four-cylinder.
So I was getting 31.2 miles in the city.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
it's very
awesome.
good.
And it's not a hybrid.
No, it's not a hybrid.
No.
Yeah.
No, mine wasn't. Yeah.
It's interesting that these new cars, especially the new ones, with the much smaller engines, and they're boosting them, either turbocharged, mostly turbocharging. Right. Some have a supercharger, but they're not that often. But you got to wonder sometimes about the longevity of it. How long is that turbo going to last? And what does it take to change out the turbo should it, bite the big one?
Well, hopefully if it goes out, it'll go out under warranty.
Yeah.
You got 3 or 36 as a standard.
I can't imagine that they would put a
60
turbocharger on a car these days from the factory that ain't going to last at least 50,000 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
So roll the dice, I guess. And I don't know what it would cost to change out a turbocharger. I know that on a Chevy truck, and I think most of them, the turbocharger on the diesels, they're in the center of the rear of the engine, and you have to lift the cab off of the chassis to change it. What?
You walk into a Ford dealership in the service department, and you see 2 or 3 of the cabs lifted up. Yeah.
Just easier to get to it, and they just don't fight it. They just take it off and get to it.
6 or 8 bolts. You take the rack, lift it up.
Yeah, but you got to unplug everything.
Well, like us, we
young guys have memories. They remember where stuff goes.
And we plug.
No, really, it's color coded, and the plugs are made so that you can't. They only plug in one way.
Interchange them. Okay. Well, anyway, I enjoyed the Mazda. I have my issue with the infotainment system.
You always have, and you're right. Jack confirmed that.
Yeah, and that's just me. And you might not have a problem with it. All right. Let us take a break, shall we? If you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address here is info@inwheeltime.com. We are back after this quick break.
The holidays are upon us, and ProAm Auto Accessories is your local one-stop for the auto enthusiast on your gift list. ProAm Auto has been serving Houston since 1984, providing world-class products for sports cars, European sedans, and American muscle. ProAm was one of the very first distributors in the U.S. for brands such as Recaro, Redline, Momo, Corbeau, and Simpson. Located in the heart of Houston's premier shopping corridor, the Galleria area, ProAm's walk-in storefront includes an 8,000-square-foot warehouse and showroom with installation and service bays. ProAm reaches a worldwide audience through ProAmAuto.com, taking its local reputation to the rest of the world. Holiday gift giving is alive and well at ProAm Auto. If you don't see what you're looking for on the website, call and ProAm will lend you a hand. ProAm Auto, 6125 Richmond at Green Ridge in Houston's Galleria area. Call them at 713-781-7755.
Hey, Houston! Houston. It's back. America's greatest hot rod tradition is Thanksgiving weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 days of hot rods, customs, trucks, and muscle cars. Don't miss the Evel Knievel tribute. The Megamorph. Transforming robot car. Lowrider showcase. Meet Catherine Bach from Dukes of Hazzard. Hip-hop legend Flava Flav. Farm Truck and Asian from Street Outlaws. Autorama. Thanksgiving weekend. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.